Namaskar, good afternoon, and welcome to this special live stream on StudyIQ IAS English as we welcome all those who have just appeared for the paper 1 of the Civil Services Preliminary Examination for the year 2023. Welcome, everyone. And before we go forward, let me just quickly have all of those who are joining us, let me know in the chat very quickly, please. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me know in the chat who all are joining us live in this special live stream as we will be taking a look, a first-hand look at the Civil Services Preliminary Examination. The first paper of it. How was it? What were the questions asked? What was the area that was most targeted by the UPSC? And how was it? Yes, the first one coming in, paper was difficult. All right, Molishri. Can I just, again, request everyone who's joining us live for this special analysis stream as we take a look at the first paper, the key paper that will determine on this very special day, on the day when Parliament of India, we have a new Parliament of India, well, possibly we will have 1105 individuals who will go forward into the next year as part of the steel frame, as part of the bureaucracy. And those 1105 people have taken the first step towards that direction. The first paper of UPSC Prelims 2023 has finished, and I await the preliminary feedback from those of you who appear, those of you who are having a look at the question paper as we speak. What's your assessment? Because prima facie, it does seem to be a not very easy paper. Not at all an easy paper by any stretch of the imagination is what my assessment is. That it will require you to have a comprehensive study of different subjects. You need to have a mastery over different subjects, particularly if you analyze the trends for this year. Paper was easy, says UPSC. All right, okay. We have the first one who says paper was easy. Well, we'll see. It's good if you found it easy, but again, the call is yet to be taken on that one. The question is still open to everyone who's joining us. How was the paper? How many questions did you attempt? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat very quickly. How many questions did you attempt and what's your assessment? Okay? Because if you look at the focus areas for this year, well, geography seems to have made a major comeback now. Yes? Geography, environment, mapping. You ought to know the key areas of current affairs, not just what is happening, but where is it happening. Yes? That was expected of you this year. And so let me know in the chat, what's your assessment? What's your takeaway after the first paper? All right, because again, at this moment, it will be important to consider two things. One, that the battle is just halfway complete. It's not a time to relax for you right now. In fact, the crucial hours begin now, the next 2 to 3 hours until you enter the examination hall again. Well, that's going to be crucial. So it's not a time to relax, but to rejuvenate and rejuvenate quickly. Because again, you have a massive examination in front of you. Paper 2, the qualifying paper. Many of brilliant students have fallen at the altar of the second paper. Why? Because they underestimate CSAT. For them, oh, it's all about paper 1, isn't it? Let me know, everyone who's joining us very quickly. Please, may I implore you that go ahead and let me know your assessment of what was paper 1 like, how many questions did you attempt, which section did you find most difficult? Let me know all of that. Let's have this interactive session as you try to possibly take a look back at the paper as well as at the same time have an analysis, the real-time analysis of your compatriots, of those who have appeared alongside you. What's the first takeaway? That's very important to understand here. Now, if you just briefly take a look at the key areas, the focus areas, again, it's all prima facie, the preliminary assessment, a threadbare analysis will be coming this evening, in fact, at 4:45 p.m. on this very channel, as I'll be joined by my esteemed colleagues, most of the most brilliant minds that you can find, as we will be discussing threadbare each and every question. All right, we will be doing that. Good morning, everyone. So, elimination technique, yes, obviously. I agree with you, Abhishek. Elimination technique is necessary. It's a part of the CSAT examination. You should know that art of eliminating options. Hello everyone, hello, welcome to this live stream. Let me know your chats, guys. Let me know your assessment. Let's make this beneficial for both of us here. Okay, what's your assessment? How many questions did you attempt? Were there any problem areas that you faced? Were there any ambiguities in any particular questions that you faced? Right? Because just prior to coming here, as I was taking a look at the paper, and then everyone's discussing the paper. Yes, I just met a couple of candidates discussing the paper. And I understand that urge to discuss the paper as soon as you get out. I understand that. I have been in that position. I totally get it. But as someone who has been in your position, may I please request you, keep the paper aside for the time being. Tell me your gut instinct, your feeling. You know whether you have done the paper well, moderately well, or you have messed it up. You know that. So a voice inside you tells you exactly that. Yes, paper was difficult, Shashank. I agree. That's my assessment too. It wasn't very easy by any stretch of the imagination, at least for me. But I'm sure there must have been students who might have found it easy. Good luck to them as they prepare for the second paper. Agreed. Paper seems difficult. Okay, all right. So what was the problem areas? How many questions did you attempt? Hi Gautam, thanks. Thank you for your message, everyone. Yes. Geography. What was your assessment of geography, guys? Geography and environment. So many questions. Mapping. So many questions. The areas of focus. The areas of focus were asked. Right? You had a question on the flag code, I believe. A question on the flag code, a question on home guards. So many areas that you encounter in your daily basis, in your daily life. And if you haven't taken care to just probably inquire about it, that would have probably landed you at a disadvantage today. Right? Good. But again, while we are discussing about the paper, guys, while everyone who's watching me, while we are discussing the first assessment of the paper, at this moment, like I told you, it's the time, it's the crucial time. Lives are made and destroyed in these 3 hours. Many people underestimate this period from 11:30 to 2:30. Right? I'll tell you what you are supposed to do. Watch the stream, take a short meal, have some cool water, and relax. Possibly go through the RC components, go through your formulae. Many people choose to relax completely. Paper 1 is done. The major Himalayan problem is out of the way. The moment you do that is the moment you compromise on your candidacy. You cannot afford to switch off right now. Do not switch off. Okay? Do not switch off right now. That's a major mistake and a very common mistake that students do. Switching off mentally. You know, before the first paper, how agile you are. Right? You are in that zone. And the moment you step out of the examination hall, a relaxation, a wave of relaxation. No, keep the wave away right now. Let it come to you at 4:30 p.m. in the evening. Right now, you will relax, you will have some food, you will rejuvenate yourself and prepare yourself for that second assault. The CSAT is very, very important. Qualifying, but very important because previous examinations, previous year's papers have told you that CSAT is something that sinks many a ships. Many a sturdy ships are sinked by CSAT. All right? So just before we go ahead and discuss what the essential feel of the paper is, yes, questions were easy, but the options were quite tough, says Nitesh Kumar. Right? How many of you are in agreement with Nitesh here? Were the options tough? Because if you look at the paper, prima facie, just have a look here. You have questions from geography, you have questions primarily, a lot from geography. Bhitarkanika mangroves, the ports of India. Where is cobalt found? Well, if you have seen the videos that we have on StudyIQ, we regularly cover this. The EV problem, the EV conundrum. And so you would know straight away that majority of the cobalt comes from Congo. Yes, there's a benefit, there's always an upside to engaging with informative content. Something that StudyIQ is adept at, we are masters at that. So if you have been up to date with those videos, with those live streams, Again, you'll see many questions that you will just find is current affairs. You don't need extensive, exhaustive study for that. It's just being aware. Like UPSC says, it needs aware people. It does not need supremely intelligent people. Right? Have a look at the questions going forward. So you have about, well, look at it. Jackfruit, mahua, teak, which are deciduous trees. All questions, basics being asked here. Indeed, it's when you go forward and you take a look at the kind of questions that have been asked. There are questions from sports, there are questions from acts, world maps, flag code, awardees, Padma Award, Arjuna Award. How many of you have even bothered to find out who's winning these awards? If you look at the career of these individuals, the contribution they have to nation building, you ought to know about them. You ought to. How can you not know about these individuals? Arjuna Awards are sports persons leading the flag of India, marching ahead in New India. You ought to know about them. Gautam, how was the paper? How was the paper exactly? We will start solving, Shri. We will start solving. We will be solving each and every question. The whole point of this stream is to get a sense of the paper, to motivate you, to not let you switch off before the second paper. And I promise you, this evening, 4:45 onwards, on this very channel, we will be discussing threadbare, with sources, every question. Okay? Now, there's no claiming to be the most authentic key, because there exists nothing like an authentic key. But then what I can assure you is that there will be a lot of honesty and sincerity in each and every answer that we tackle, that we present before you. Obviously, variations may happen. That's not in our hands. But you will see that the sources are cited. It's something that you can probably and most likely rely on. That will be taking place this evening after your CSAT examination at 4:45. From 4:45 onwards, first paper 1 will be discussed threadbare. Thereafter, around 8:30, we'll begin with the second paper, the CSAT paper. Everything will be discussed. Again, we do not claim to be the most authentic, as hundreds of others would claim. Thanks to them, good for them. We just claim to be the most sincere team that will put their heart out in making sure that you can rely on our answer key. Okay, that's a promise. So anyways, that's at 4:45 this evening. But before I let you go out of this very short stream, because again, I wouldn't want to eat into your time of rejuvenation like I told you. It's just a friendly reminder that you should rejuvenate right now. Have a meal, have some water. Do not touch your GS1 paper right now. That part of your life is over. That part of your life is not in your hands anymore. What is in your hands is paper 2. Go and ace it. Go at it with a vengeance. What I mean is, be calm, be composed, be surgical in the way you attempt every question. Okay? History was tough, says Happy Singh. Easy to moderate, polity was easy. How was geography and environment, guys? I'm yet to see a single guy telling me about how geography and environment was. What was your assessment of geography and environment? Current affairs, a key area. Many hours are spent by students on current affairs. What was current affairs like? Let me know. Let's go ahead. Tough. Elimination method not working this time. Paper was difficult. All right, Prakash. I probably would agree about that. Because you know what? As students, we often think the moment we come out of the examination hall, the inner soul tells us, it was okay. But then as a student who has prepared sincerely, you know deep in your heart how good was it or how bad was it. Immediately you know. 89 attempted, 66 is correct. Aditya, how did you come to that conclusion so fast? Within 47 minutes you have figured out 66 is correct. That's good. I like the confidence. But to corroborate your assessment, to make sure that you indeed have 66 correct out of 89 as you have mentioned, make sure to tune in this evening, 4:45 p.m. as we will make sure that each and every instinct of yours is backed by substantial evidence. Okay? Sports also came. Yes, good. You should be learning about sports. In fact, don't be surprised that in the coming years, if UPSC asks you about esports, what are the laws governing esports in India? How many of you would know that? But most of you would have played some sort of esport at some time or the other. And that's what UPSC asks of you. That's what it demands of you. That you be an aware citizen who just doesn't eat the fruits of success, but also figures out how that success was achieved. Learns about the history of the country, the contemporary issues of relevance, all of that. That's what UPSC expects on a very holistic level. Obviously, mastery over subjects is desired. Good, Aditya. Focus on the CSAT paper. Go through reading comprehension, the basics of reading comprehension, because past trends tell you that RC questions form up to 25 plus minus. 25 questions. Yes? So make sure that you know the difference, say, between assumption and inference and implication and gist and crux, argument. Make sure you know that. Make sure you know how to identify central idea, theme. Make sure that you know your formulas. That would be the best thing to do in the next 2 hours. Do not, I plead of you, do not switch off. Okay? You have done well, or whatever you have done in the first paper, that part is over. That part is done with. If you have done well, good. If you have done moderately well, fine. You can still salvage everything. If you haven't done well, make sure that you give your best in the second paper. Because again, you don't know. UPSC, you can never know. Many a year, people have said, oh, the paper was easy and the cutoff came down. Cutoff came to probably 80s or 90s. Environment and ecology, yes, Ashmita, that was my assessment too. That environment, ecology, geography, world maps, those were primary areas of relevance for every student. You ought to be knowing not just about current affairs, but about the area of current affairs. Right? If a question on Nagorno-Karabakh would have come, I wouldn't have been surprised. It's not an area many students would know about. Okay? So I agree. That's a very fair assessment to make, that yes, questions were primarily focused on geography, on ecology, on environment, on acts, on laws. How was science and technology? How was science and technology for all those of you who appeared? Was it on predicted lines, as you had expected? Or were there questions that came completely out of the blue, that caught you unaware? What was science and tech like? History, I know, probably would have been dealt well. History is static. There's not a lot of divergence, even in year-wise, when it comes to history. But most of the other questions, they'd ask you for cross-fertilization of ideas. It asks you to cross-link with other subjects to arrive at the question and the answer. So yes, that's a fair assessment. Fair assessment. Anyways, let me know what's your attempts, because attempts do matter, guys. Did you under-attempt? Did you over-attempt? Or are you happy with the number of questions that you have done so far? What's your assessment there? Okay, how many questions would be the ideal attempt is also to be expected. Rohit, we are in the process of analyzing that. We will be discussing the question paper in detail, in toto. All right? So I don't want to jump the gun and give you a number and then, have to retract it later. Whatever has to be given to you from this platform has to be absolutely authentic. Okay? Which is why we are happy to take our time, but 4:45 p.m. this evening, make an appointment with StudyIQ IAS English. Why? Because you will need to know the contemporary situation. Where have you landed yourself after this 1 year of hard work, 1 year of perseverance, of fighting against the odds? And again, it's not just about you, but it's about your friends and your family, more importantly. The bedrock of your preparation. So you owe it to make sure that you have a realistic assessment. That your assessment is not based on faulty keys or people who are just in the habit of breaking news in the guise of UPSC key preparation. No. That requires sincerity, that requires hard work, that requires immense dedication, to which our whole team is right now focused. So we are in that process, and we will be bringing to you the most relevant key this evening, 4:45 p.m. on this very channel. So make sure you come out of the examination hall, have your water, grab your mobile phone, and then switch on here as you catch your ferry or your truck or your bus or your metro back home. because you will need to know. Our experts will be here. I'll be joined by my esteemed panelists, my esteemed faculty members, my colleagues, and we will be discussing threadbare, subject-wise, question-wise. And probably at the end of the day, there could be a consensus arrived on what could be the possible cutoff. That is again far into the future. First is the assessment of the paper. Thereafter, individual assessment of the questions. Thereafter, a look at the trends, students interacting. And finally, probably a consensus might be achieved by the end of this day on what could possibly be the cutoff that you require so that your candidacy goes forward to the mains. That you become a part of those 1105 people who are going to become a part of the steel frame of India come next year at this very time. Just 7 days before the prelims, the results get announced normally. Okay, all right, great. Okay, so we will leave you at that. We will in fact leave you at that. Go ahead, rejuvenate, have a meal, have a water, whatever, relax, go through your basics, and we will see you this evening at 4:45 p.m. on this very channel. All the best to all of you individually from the entire team of StudyIQ English IAS for your CSAT paper. Our sincerest wishes, make sure that you give it your best. You deserve it not just for yourself, but to all of us around you. All right? Thank you so much for joining. Till I see you again this evening, 4:45 p.m. for the most comprehensive analysis of the CSAT paper 1 and GS paper 1 and CSAT paper 2. Thanks for watching. All the best.